Hey guys, before we get into it this week, I just wanted to say that in this episode we discuss the recent BetterHelp data sharing controversy. Now, as part of this topic, we do discuss mental health issues, and although we don't go into things in a ton of detail, I thought it was important to put a trigger warning here for discussion of mental illness and also mentions of suicide. So if you're not in a space to listen to that type of content right now, I'd recommend either skipping to the 45-minute mark or maybe even giving this week's episode a miss.
So basically, at work, we've had a bit of a discussion going on in our office. One member of our team has requested that we stop swearing, full stop.
Full stop? Ever?
And has even gone to the lengths of suggesting we get a swear jar, which I said, no fricking way. I actually said the real F word.
No flipping way,
no
guys.
No flipping way, matey.
That's a quid in there, Ethan.
Yeah, because, I already don't have very much money, so, I don't think that's very fair, and I'm quite a serial swearer. So, I thought it might be interesting for us to try and do a podcast without swearing, which I think will be a lot easier for you than me, because I think it's usually me who swears. But
it's also convenient, isn't it? The podcast that Kieran's got to edit. Oh, put up some fancy motion graphics swear counter on the screen.
Oh,
here,
no.
And go and put an animated tip jar showing up.
No, you don't.
Get a heart rate monitor on your arm, and like the streamers do, and put how fast our heart's beating when we're trying. Yeah.
You don't need to do that.
I think that'll be an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah, I'm going to try and not swear, and then. Yeah.
Are you going to actively try?
I'm going to actively try not to swear. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not at all. I'm just going to do the episode like I normally would.
Okay.
And we'll see which one of us... Well, I might actually put a counter on the screen.
Okay.
Kieran, edit this out if you're too lazy to actually do it.
Yeah.
And I'll put a counter next to each of us, and we'll see how this goes.
Awesome.
So dear listeners, we'll join you in this Swear Jar special edition episode. Don't expect this to continue. We're not going to be a family-friendly podcast going forward.
Yeah. Okay. Roll intro.
Hello and welcome to the Scrambled Checksum podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kieran, a guy who has, for the first time, spent actual real currency on a piece of equipment to make this podcast a little bit better sounding, but I waited too long to order it, so you won't be hearing the benefit of it in this particular episode. And I'm joined by my co-host, Ethan, a guy who showed me that if I just turned one dial on my microphone, I could make it sound a lot better for free. Ethan, how are you doing this week?
I am absolutely fantastic, and you're welcome, by the way, for that. And I noticed that you didn't clip your intro, and it on the first attempt as well, thanks to said knob twiddling. So
that's the answer. If you're ever struggling with your audio settings, or even perhaps it'll even work for like if you're struggling to run a game on your graphics card.
Yeah, just a little bit of knob twiddling will sort you right out.
Goes a long way. But you know what would really help in terms of us being able to purchase more equipment to improve the quality of the podcast.
Would it be improved mental health so that you can be more productive or some crap?
It could be, and it could even be a sponsor from this episode's sponsor. In fact, BetterHelp. No, I'm just kidding. We're not spawn. But we have seen some rather troubling information come out on BetterHelp that we're looking to discuss this week.
Yes,
so
I understand.
How much have you seen?
I understand, Kieran, that you may be of the opinion that it should be called Worse Help.
Maybe even worse than that.
Oh wow! So
better hindrance.
I've had a
better data.
Yeah, I've had a video pop up in my feed.
BetterAds.
Yes, BetterAds. Better.
Yes, sorry, you've had a video pop up.
Yeah, from Logically Answered, but I haven't watched it yet. However, I have noticed a trend of seemingly every YouTuber under the sun being sponsored by BetterHelp. And I do also... my main reason for skepticism...
Is this skepticism of BetterHelp or skepticism of the claims against BetterHelp?
No, I am not aware of the claims against BetterHelp.
Right.
But, other than the title of that video essay.
Yep.
But the thing that's always put me off doing anything with their service is they had quite a sizable data leak. I think it was last year. I can't remember. but there was a leak of a load of like confidential patient information.
So I hadn't heard about that. So do you know how much that involved? Was that like last 4 digits of credit cards, or was that like people's filled in questionnaires?
No, it was actually like medical related information.
So to be honest, that's
which
almost
I don't
worse,
understand why they even held.
Yeah, what was the deal with it? Was it encrypted or was it like encrypted but not well?
I've got to be honest, I can't remember. I think it was like it didn't. Yeah, it wasn't that they were just like storing it in plain text. They were like their security was compromised somehow.
Yeah, so like it might have been a case that it leaked, but it was like the stuff that leaked was encrypted. So in theory, no one's like names or like it leaked, but it was not.
I've got to be honest. If I was BetterHelp, I would my strategy to patient privacy and confidentiality would be, because I don't know exactly how they work, but I'm assuming that BetterHelp doesn't actually employ what's the word, like therapists or whatever.
Wow, that's an interesting one. We'll come to that later.
I would assume that they're freelancers and they're just kind of, BetterHelp is a platform for finding them, which maybe that's not true. But I would just let them deal with all the handling of any confidential information and literally only hold information required for billing. And in fact, I wouldn't even want to hold that. I'd obviously make sure I use a third party payment processor, let them deal with all that, and literally just be like, have as little information as possible. Because like if you're like, right, as big of a prominent mental health support or whatever, therapists, blah 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 blah, in the eyes of the internet as BetterHelp, you're going to be like, people have very like obviously private conversations with their therapists, and if and if that's being recorded all in one place at BetterHelp, that's like a hella great target if you want to blackmail a load of people. Like this, I would not want to be responsible for any of that shit. If bugger, damn it, no.
Yeah, there you go. That's one. I'm not even trying.
Completely. I already flipped it.
Yep, you've already messed up. That's one. Ding. Yeah.
It was 2 actually, because I swore in reaction to swearing.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, 2.
But anyway, yeah, that would be, that's my take on. But like I say, that is pure. I don't really know much about BetterHelp. I just know that there was that data breach, and that's made me go, oh hell no, I'm not going anywhere near them.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that like one of their big selling points from the ads that I've seen is that they've got this like, we'll match you with a therapist based on the answers to our secret source questionnaire. So from what I understand, you fill out a questionnaire and then they use whatever you fill out in the questionnaire to match you. So it's like, I don't know how they could get around not storing that. So I don't know.
I feel like there must be. I'm not a data scientist, but I feel like there must be a way, like some kind of like hashing algorithm or something.
Or whether you could just, I don't know, somehow like store it while you did the therapist matching thing and then immediately delete it.
Yeah, so it's only ever temporary stored. It doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't
store it to RAM or something.
Yeah, it's like saved literally to give you a list of results, but then as soon as it's given you a rundown of therapists, it just gives you like a percentage match score in it, and then it just saves the match score and the list of therapists, not the data that it used to get to that conclusion.
It can generate you like a match list, but then it doesn't save your questionnaire answers. So that's what I'm saying, all just stored in memory, and then it just stores like, or even, you probably have to store the list of matched ones for like, because there's a delay between them, like.
But that'd be fine. Just store the list of store the results of the calculation, but don't store the calculation.
Yeah, exactly that. So
don't show you working out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting, because I wasn't aware of that one, the data breach. So the current controversy around them, I say controversy, I'll probably still use allegedly to, I invoke the protection of the word allegedly.
Yeah.
But like they've been fined by the FTC from what I understand for this latest thing, and the headline issue was that they had all these claims on the websites, of course they did, of like, we protect your privacy, we care about your privacy, we don't share your confidential data. And the controversy is that they have shared the data with like the big tech companies, so Facebook, Snapchat, likes of those guys. TikTok was on the list according to the video I watched allegedly.
That is so immoral.
For the purposes of advertising.
That is so immoral.
It's pretty bad stuff, right?
That is just ethically bankrupt.
It's poor. It's a poor show.
It's more than poor. That's appalling.
Yeah, it's like so the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because I'm curious for your take on it as the kind of main man privacy advocate.
Well, I've got two perspectives from this. Obviously, the privacy advocate, but also without going into too much detail, I am a long-term sufferer of a mental health condition, so I have many experiences with counsellors or therapists, etc., and stuff as well. So,
yeah. So to boil down what they did, so here's where I'm kind of like, so the headline is BetterHelp shares your info with marketing providers so they can target you with ads. That's at its core. That's pretty despicable. Like you said, your immediate reaction was that. So I'm not going to try and play devil's advocate and say what they did was right, because it wasn't. Like, that was wrong.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. So from what I could tell in that video that I watched, and so to give some background again without going into too much detail, I'm kind of familiar with like online advertising tech. And from what I could tell in the video, a lot of what they would, so like they weren't taking your answers to these questionnaires, from what I understand, and like sending them in plain text to Facebook.
Right.
But here's the thing where it gets a bit sketchy. So what they were doing was they were using like tools that effectively anyone that advertises on Facebook can use. So what platforms like Facebook have, and I'm oversimplifying it here, these guys were dealing with, I'm sure, like massive ad spends. So it could be they've got access to additional tools, whatever. But from what I understand, what they were doing was they were using a feature that platforms like Facebook have, where if you share your first-party data with Facebook, what they'll do is you pass it to them, they'll hash the data, which is, if you're not familiar, like a one-way cipher. So the data gets hashed. You can then hash matching data in the same way. The two hashes will match, but at no point, if anyone compromised the data, could they reverse that process.
Yeah.
Same
as how passwords should be
exactly that
stored.
Yeah, exactly that. So like you would provide them Ethernet at scrambledchecksum.com. They would then, Facebook would hash that, and it would turn it to, let's say, for example, ABC123. And then they would see if they had in their user databases a user whose hash was ABC123. If they found a user with that, they could then serve them with ads. So the idea is someone like BetterHelp gives them first-party data. They match it to Facebook users and then use it to serve ads to people who've already interacted with your service. So the idea is that you'll get a better conversion rate from people who've already interacted with your service in some way, so like previous members, people who've signed up for updates, that type of thing, than you would just trying to target based off like interests. So like, because what do you do if you're BetterHelp? There's not like a Facebook group of like, I'm looking for mental health assistance. However, you can give them like all of your user database, and they'll find those people and serve them ads, and also find like lookalike audiences, as they call them, I believe the terminology is. So it's like you tell them here's 10,000 of our users. Facebook can then serve them ads, and it can also then find, say, 50,000 people who they think are similar to them and serve them the same ads.
Yeah, I was going to say, because surely, like, serving ads for your service to existing users of your service isn't that productive. I guess it's
could be like, the idea is that like
keeps
if they
the mind
previously
share, I guess.
And it's more like if they've, say, signed up 6 months ago and they've stopped the service, it's like a reminder. It's like less friction for them. And then, yeah, like say, it's like Facebook and stuff can go away and find similar users. That's where they, as a marketing platform, say the power of that data is. They're like, oh, well, we'll find you. You can say, like, find me the 10,000 people who are within a 1% match of these in similarity to these people who we've already signed up in the past.
Right.
But it's like, so if that's the case, like, I feel like the advertising platforms have, because obviously what BetterHelp have done is bad. Like, that's kind of sketchy, right? You're like, oh, find me 10,000 people who are similar to these 10,000 other people who've got mental health issues. That feels wrong, right?
Yeah.
But like, BetterHelp.
Well, let's not mince words here. It's preying on vulnerable people.
Exactly that. It's like, you know, can you imagine if they were like a gambling company and they were like, here's our 10,000 highest spenders in the past 6 months. Find me 10,000 more people who are similarly susceptible to gambling addiction.
I'm not going to lie, that probably happens.
Exactly right. But like, here's the thing. I feel like the ad platforms have kind of gotten off a little bit easy here. Because like, they provide the features. They do the work. So from what I understand, BetterHelp have made a miscalculation and basically thought, hey, let's use these features, not considering that effectively what they're storing is health information, which is stupid. But, like, the platforms seem to have gotten a bit of a free ride here of, like, you know, whatever, BetterHelp just using a Facebook feature, it's all on them. Surely the platforms need to take some responsibility there, right? And that's what I wanted to get your opinion on. How responsible... Because, like, I don't think too many people would begrudge them saying like, oh, we're, let me think of an example. We're a company that sells hoodies, and they're ethically made hoodies, and we're trying to serve ads on Facebook to get more people to buy our ethically made hoodies, but we don't really have a selection of Facebook demographics we can target these ads to. So here's our customer database of people who've bought these ethical hoodies. Find us similar people and serve them ads for our ethical hoodies. Like, is that as bad? Is that bad at all? Is that okay? Because, like, they would argue, like, oh, we just wanted to show our ads to people who are more likely to be in... It's like the whole targeted ads argument, right?
I mean...
Oh, we'll still show you ads, but we'll show you less targeted ads if you opt out. So do you want to just opt in and we'll show you the good ads for stuff you might want? I'm not saying that I agree with that, by the way. I always opt out, but...
I think it depends what perspective you look at it, right? I would...
Because, like, where's the limit then? It's like, okay, the hoodies are allowed. What about a product that's like unhealthy food? So people who've signed up...
It's really difficult because it's like... I mean, this isn't just a conversation for, like, the internet, I guess, really. It's like, who has the right to be the kind of the gatekeeper to... it becomes a conversation about, like, individual freedom, basically, I think, at a certain point, doesn't it? But,
yeah.
I mean... I think if... The way I try to approach these things is... So, personally, I feel like it's reasonable to approach life from a perspective where you have some basic morals, like moral guidelines. So, the absolute core is... let's... Like... or never intentionally do something that will harm yourself or others or, like, life, basically.
I think especially as well if you're in the business, quote unquote, of helping people.
Yeah.
Like they allege that they are.
Well, they're not. They're in the business of making money.
Exactly, but, like, you can't say someone somewhere in that business is not upholding that because, you know, it's wrong, right?
Yeah. I think so. yeah, if we approach it from a like, okay, don't cause unnecessary harm. Basically, that's kind of like the principle I go like. I kind of make my core like morals come down to like no unnecessary harm or cruelty, because I mean obviously there's going to be some unintended things, or there's going to be like for example, people eat meat, and the world we live in at the moment, some people need to eat meat. So
like when we manufacture our laser discs, for example, if someone in the factory was, for example, sawed in half by a laser disc that was spun up too fast,
hypothetically,
allegedly, again, nothing is currently public, but if that happened to someone, that would, I think the company behind that, Scrambled Incorporated,
I think for the moment, that no evidence has come to light. So for the moment, it appears we're in the clear.
I think zero harm was done during the manufacture of our Series 1 laser discs of the Scrambled Checksum Volume 1.
Yeah.
I think
you can't prove anything. No witnesses.
We can safely say that no one was witnessed being harmed during the manufacture of our Laserdisc merch.
Yeah. Anyway,
whether they were harmed or not is not, Yeah. So anyway, you were saying.
Yeah. So that's where I'd approach things from. So, so I guess. So if we look at let's look at the ethical hoodie example. Does on a purely individual level, does the fact that hoodie manufacturer wants to reach more people, become more popular, it's doing something ethical, say hypothetically it's a registered B Corp, etc., is that bad? Okay, in isolation, I think you reasonably say no. However, I think you could argue that they haven't. There's a necessity for them to do that because that's the world we live in.
Like, people need clothing. They make hoodies in the most ethical way possible. That's okay.
Well, I mean, they have to market it using those tools because that's the way you market things in the world that we live in.
What are you going to do? Yeah,
if they don't do that, they're going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah. And Lord knows that, like, the fast fashion brands don't give a crap. They'll market using every tool available, share every piece of data they can, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that being said, does that mean that we can say, oh well, privacy concerns, schmivacy concerns, like it doesn't matter? I no, but I don't think the finger of blame belongs. It should be pointed at that company. It's more of a society as a whole problem, not a. So
Scrambled Checksum hoodies. We're working on the B Corp registration. They'll be available soon. If you want to,
that would be amazing. If we could make if we could find someone who would make a Scrambled Checksum hoodie for a reasonable price that was B Corp, that would be pretty.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find.
That would
ethical,
be very cash money.
Exactly, it's very difficult to find. I've looked. It's very difficult to find ethical custom printing.
I heard there was this company called Creator Warehouse who wanted to start providing services.
They were great.
But then I feel like maybe we shouldn't.
I'm
just getting this gut feeling that maybe we shouldn't. I don't know why. What it is.
If you'd like one of our hoodies, though, if you wanted to pop your email address in the comments in plain text, we promise that we'll ethically store them. And then pass them on to Facebook in order to serve you targeted ads for our merch when it drops.
Yeah.
So,
I think. Right. Yeah. So we're.
Yeah, you were saying about the platforms. And,
so I think
the company.
I think. Like I say, I think it's more of a society as a whole issue, and I think. So personally, my view is that. Advertising. Well, I personally think it is kind of a violation of your it's a violation of your privacy,
your online freedom,
or no, just your freedom in general, to not be able to go about your life without passing on information to unknown third parties who may or may not have your best interests at heart. I know where I stand on that side of the fence, but let's keep this as balanced as possible. To essentially manipulate you into giving them money, or making them money.
Based on that,
like how can anybody be okay with that if you agree that you should have kind of control over your own life?
So based on that, here's my question. Is the real answer then, obviously BetterHelp deserved their massive fine. I say massive, probably in terms of their profits, it wasn't that massive. But here's my question then. Is the real root of the answer that Facebook doesn't offer these features at all and then accepts that they make less money? Because here's the thing, like they're profitable. So
they would only make less money if only they were penalized and not allowed to do this.
Well, that's the thing, because like they'd make less money because their advertisers would make less money and would not spend as much advertising on the platform because their ads would be less effective. So like the cost per click that you'd have to pay on Facebook would...
Maybe they should make better products that speak for themselves instead of...
Well, that's the thing, because it's like...
tat.
I don't know necessarily that it's useless tat. It's like, would it just be that they would have to, like... Because you'd have to target the ads in some way, because if you don't target the ads, they go to everyone.
I'm not against targeting ads, but targeting it on incredibly specific personal information that is collected technically with consent, but really, like, you don't have any choice, do you? Basically, if you want to exist in the modern world, i.e. have access to the internet and do all the things on the internet that you kind of have to do to be involved in modern society, you don't have a choice, do you?
So do you think Facebook should pull that feature of being able to provide first-party data? I'm saying Facebook a lot here. Like Google has the same feature.
I think
they use it to match it with Google.
I think it should not be allowed by anybody. Full stop. Personally.
Yeah. So that feature should disappear.
Yeah. I mean, companies existed before they had that level of granularity for sponsorships. Like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. Yeah. At the end of the day, like, yeah, everything's a compromise. It's like, oh, think about the companies that will struggle if we make this change. Well, yeah, but what I say? Okay, so what do you value more? Like some soulless corporation who doesn't really actually give a crap about, or for the most, on average, doesn't give a crap about the common good in any shape or form, or, you know, your privacy, I guess. I don't know, to be honest, I think most people seem to make the call, I don't care.
Yeah, right. I'll download TikTok, whatever.
Yeah, but I think so. Just to on top of that though, so that's one part of the argument. Personally, I think the other part of the argument, specifically when it comes to BetterHelp, personally, and this isn't exclusive to BetterHelp, I think it is incredibly immoral advertising anything to do with healthcare. Full stop.
And that's the problem, right? Because Facebook,
especially making claims or kind of out of context claims about how much it's going to help you, like, you know how like you get you get adverts for medication and stuff on TV, or for like back pain or whatever, or all these things. I personally, again, it all comes down, you're preying on vulnerable people. You're preying to people who have like advertising for like back pain. You're preying on people who suffer with chronic pain, and you're to try and profit off that.
And from what I understand,
how is that a good thing?
In the US, from what I understand, that's like much worse, where it's like, ask your doctor for this,
Yeah, oh yeah, it's much
where
worse.
it's like prescription
We
treatments,
actually
so
do
it's like
have
not
some kind of
way different.
regulation.
Yeah, there is
over
at
it.
least here it's only over the counter stuff you're allowed to advertise. Like
Yeah.
prescription drugs can't be advertised. You get what you're prescribed on the NHS. Thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think probably the answer here is like these features sketch me out as well. Like the fact that they can, do this. And I think the answer is probably that just these mega platforms like remove that level of granularity.
Yeah.
And then it levels the playing field, right? Because otherwise it's just a case of if your competitors are doing it, you will lose out if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can take... It's annoying because then it's like the companies that take the moral high ground lose out.
Yeah.
Which sucks because they then are the ones that suffer. They go out of business. The only game in town then is the shitty ones. Oh, that's one for me.
Hey,
there we go. Hey,
wait, I didn't even catch that. So okay, so that's one for Kieran,
two for you,
two for me. So
that's
so far you're
still in the lead.
Yeah, still in the lead.
But yeah, like I think it's a case of they need to remove them, and like there's some other stuff that I saw from the articles that I read about it where they were disclosing answers to like, have you ever sought out therapy in the past? I don't know how they were doing that because that's not obviously like a feature that's available to every advertiser from what I understand on the platforms. But that's even worse.
Yeah.
And then I think as well they weren't disclosing it, which is the other massive problem, because they knew that if they put a big checkbox that was unchecked by default that said, do you agree for your data to be shared with the following advertisers for the sake of targeting you ads?
Oh, I really want to swear now.
Because to me, like,
people would say, F no.
Yeah, and I think,
flip
like...
no.
Yeah, flipping heck.
Flipping heck, I'm not giving that information.
You're having a bubble bath if you think I'm going to do... Yeah, like...
You can go do one.
Honestly, I wish that like part of the FTC settlement was that they could still keep doing it, but they had to put up like a big pop-up after you filled out your
it had to take up at least 50% of the screen.
And it said like it was unchecked by default and said like we at BetterHelp would like to serve you better adverts.
Do you want us to violate your individual privacy?
Yeah, because it's
yes
like we're all used to the cookie banners that appear on every website massively, right? And they're a real pain.
Yeah.
And all they're asking to do is store a cookie. Like I know it's for cross-site tracking and stuff like that, but like that's less egregious than sending your email address over to whoever. So I think like instead of it being something you can hide in your T's and C's, let them keep doing it, but any company that wants to use it, and this would never happen, but like, can you imagine if it was like any company that wanted to use this feature? Yeah, go ahead, doesn't matter what sector you're in, whatever. But you have to put a massive pop-up that fills the screen that says, hey, we'd like to send your data to these people for the purposes of sending you adverts about your therapy needs. Do you consent? Because then it would stop them being able to do all this absolute nonsense of saying that they don't share it, because it was so carefully worded, I think, of like, oh, we don't share we don't record your conversations with therapists. It's like, yeah, that should be a standard. Saying you don't record that, like, yeah, of course, I should hope not.
Right.
But
I'm just gonna just quickly say something. This is from we're in the UK. If there's anybody listening who's thinking, oh, well, I've seen BetterHelp, and that was going to be the only way that I could think of to find therapy. I don't know of anything else. There are resources available, both free and also there's resources in the UK for finding a therapist from the people who actually accredit therapists in the UK, and we will link them below, both whether you're listening to just the audio version or the YouTube version.
Yeah, if you give me those links, I'll stick them down below. I will say that, like, from what I've heard, it can be very expensive, unfortunately, outside of organizations like them, which is where it sucks that they suck with this kind of thing, because it sucks that this has come out, not in terms of, like, they've been exposed, but it sucks because I don't think there's an alternative to them, right, with the, like, payment plans and the, like, sliding scale costing, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
But hopefully someone will rise up. If you're an app developer, and you want some seed money to develop this app, I will give you several pounds.
The problem, if I'm being honest, it's not the fact that the apps, because it's free to the sites I'm talking about. You don't pay anything to them. It's purely a method for finding licensed therapists, and then it's however much that therapist is charging. The problem is the fact that therapy is not available through the public healthcare system in a meaningful way, and
yeah, that's what sucks.
And that is for a multitude of reasons. One of which is that due to criminal underfunding, healthcare system doesn't pay people what they should pay people, which means if you're a therapist who's paid however much to go through years and years of training, you cannot afford to practice via the health service, the National Health Service, because you'll be paid pittance. And the other side of it is there's so few people, or the NHS's support for mental health is so abysmal that if you the only way you will get instant support, in inverted commas, is if you are literally like, you've got the rope around your neck and you're about to kick the chair out. That is the only way you are getting support through the NHS anytime soon. Like, otherwise, it's like a 3, or at least when I last went, it was a 2-year waiting list to get like long-term support, or I could wait 2 months to go to my local support, but I would only get 6 sessions, and they only did one very specific type of therapy. And after those 6 sessions, they're like, right, well, have fun with your mental health. You'll just follow this written stuff. If you've got any questions, don't bother, because
I'm surprised it was 6. I was expecting you to say like it was 1.
Well, they'll give you less if they don't think you're severe enough. And my last episode, without going into too much detail, I went to my doctor because I only went to my doctor because I was in a really bad way, and I got put on this waiting list for 8 weeks, and I was like, right, okay, well, I guess I'll have to wait 8 weeks. And before that 8 weeks was out, I had a full-on mental breakdown, and again, without going into too much detail, well, if it wasn't for me having a very supportive family around me, I could well have dropped far enough down to have been hospitalised. So thanks, NHS. Great.
It's lucky that mental health.
Although no, sorry, I'm not. I don't
weight.
want to disparage the NHS. It's not the NHS's fault. Thank you.
The fact they got, yeah.
Thank you. I am going to swear, and I don't care. Thank you, fucking Tories. You bunch of arsewipes. Anyway.
Are we counting arsewipes as number 4, or are we just going with...
I don't think arsewipes counts. But sorry, that had to be said because...
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's appalling.
Yeah.
It's appalling. So I basically was forced to go private because, like, that, like, what else is appalling? I have to pay for medication that I require to live my life. I have to pay for that out of my pocket. Because I suffer from a health condition, I have to sacrifice some of my money, which I already get paid fairly little. But because I get paid at all, I can't get it for free. So I have to pay for... And some people will say that, oh, you must be a socialist. No, I just want to live my life. And the government's purpose is to support people being able to live their lives. But, you know, anyway, I have to pay for that. And if I want therapy, I have to pay for that as well. And it's not cheap. I'm just... I'm just going to bring up... I'm just trying to find how I've got.
Have you ever considered
here,
becoming a productive member of society? You know, like a billionaire. You know, someone who... Have you ever considered that might be the answer?
Oh, mate. Oh.
That if you just became rich enough that you could donate significant sums of money to people in power, then
yeah,
you know, if perhaps if you just the gamers, as the gamers say, got good at making...
just get good.
Just get good at it, just get good at making unfair amounts of wealth, then...
Do you want to have a guess? This is on the cheaper side, but do you want to have a guess how much I was paying for a 1 hour session?
Oh, 1 hour? I'm going to guess 150.
No, it wasn't. Okay, it wasn't anywhere near that bad. I was paying £50. And that's kind of like on the cheaper side.
Yeah, I was going to say that's actually lower than what I was expecting, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not the US. It's not quite as bad as the US, but that's still
$10,000.
Put that into the context that at the peak of my last episode, I was having a session every week.
Oh yeah. Did you consider becoming destitute?
I had to at the time I was unemployed. I had to basically hemorrhage my savings for like 2 to 3 months. By which point, by the time I came out the other side of it, I had no savings left.
I would argue that some would say you didn't go far enough. Like, did you consider that it might be a positive effect on your mental health to sell all your belongings,
become homeless?
Become homeless, and then you're not in the system. Yeah. So the problem's solved, I think, in that respect.
Why not not go for the permanent solution and just kill myself?
Jesus Christ.
But I'm just being, I mean, I know that's dark, but fucking hell, like, sorry, again, okay, the swearing thing is well and true. This is something that makes me properly angry.
No, it is frustrating.
But like, this is, like the vast majority of people who are homeless, at least in the UK, and I'm sure it's the same around the world, are people who suffer from mental health issues. And they've lost their job through whatever reasons, possibly due to addiction, and they will have probably become addicted to something because they started taking a drug as a coping mechanism for their poor mental health because they had no access to any other form of support.
Probably cheaper as well.
Probably, quite possibly. I couldn't possibly comment. But yeah, so they become homeless, they fall out the system, and then they, either they become ill from just poverty or they end up killing themselves. Yeah, and quite frankly, anyone who shames anybody for killing themselves has absolutely no fucking clue what it's like to suffer from from a mental health condition. I'm sorry, if you have strong opinions and think people who kill themselves are cowardly, seriously, the world could do without you. You can fuck right off. Sorry, I know that's strong, but what a what a world we live in. Anyway,
so I think in conclusion,
so yeah, anyway, go use our affiliate link for BetterHelp.
Fuck you, BetterHelp. But if you could help us restore Ethan's savings by using our affiliate link to sign up from them, that would be great. Just make sure you opt in, because otherwise we don't get paid.
God, this episode got a bit heavy. I thought the Linus episode was heavy. Jesus.
Make sure you click all the buttons to opt into all of the third-party advertising stuff on their service. So yeah, that's our thoughts on BetterHelp.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I have another frustration.
Yes, let's talk about something else.
I have another frustration with the website.
Go on.
And so I don't know if anyone's ever tried to use. I don't know if it's the same for all phone companies, actually. What phone network are you with, if that's not disclosing personally identifiable information?
I am going to say...
Tell us through a riddle.
They are famed for having a particular accent in their marketing material and voicemails, etc.
Oh, yeah, I know who they are. Yeah, okay. So, Ethan's got... Is it a northern accent?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay. So Ethan's on good quality northern mobile phone coverage. I can relate because I'm on good quality northern internet. You'll know what you mean if you live in the UK.
Yeah. I've got to be honest. The phone provider I'm currently with is the best I've had in a long while, and that's including a recent experience with Everything Everywhere, EE.
So here's my question:
Orange T-Mobile.
What's their online services like? So assuming that you wanted to say, I don't know, put an add-on onto your contract, Have you ever what's the online experience like? Is it a good one?
I've actually never needed to.
Have you ever had to manage your account in any way through their website? Because I'm just curious if this is something that's common to all phone providers or if it's a northern phone provider.
So I have. One thing I've instantly noticed is the fact that I've just gone into my app for the first time in a couple of months and it's signed me out.
I actually have no signal, is what I've just noticed, and I haven't for several months.
Okay.
That would explain.
Yeah, no, it's signed me out.
Okay, that's not the biggest sin in the world.
But other apps managed to keep me signed in.
Yeah, but they don't make very much money providing phone coverage. Upgrading the network to 5G to is expensive. They keep telling me in the text messages every time that they raise my phone bill.
Started on
No.
5G.
Okay. We'll not get you started on 5G. But for based on all the texts I've got, they're in a bad way at the minute. The phone companies, bless them. So
just to clarify, I'm not one of those conspiracists who believes 5G is giving us all COVID. That's not what I was referring to. I was referring to other problems with 5G.
No, we believe that 5G
technical problems,
else.
We
believe that 5G causes tremendous pain to the bank account.
Yeah.
Because based on the text they keep sending me when they raise my phone bill every time, it's very expensive. So we got to feel for them for that.
Oh, fantastic! I can't sign into the app because I require a 2-factor authentication code sent to me via text, and I have no phone signal.
Okay, so it doesn't sound terrible. So I know where you are up there in northern Scotland, allegedly, doesn't have good phone signal.
Why can't they just use a regular an authenticator app that doesn't require you to be online?
Because then they wouldn't have a purpose as a phone provider. They need to use their own network.
Yeah, but using email or text for 2FA is a horrendously
text especially
insecure, vulnerable way, easily exploited.
Yeah, but it's
what? Also, okay, I'm signing in. Okay, I'm signing into something on my phone. Yeah, so theoretically, I've obviously already got access to the phone. What is the point in sending me a text to the same phone to authenticate that it's me signing in? That is a pointless authentication step.
They want to flex how good their network is, that they can send you a text.
It's pointless, Kieran, because clearly I've got access to the phone because I'm signing in on that phone.
But they're just showing off their 100%.
What is the point in that second authentication step?
So they can show off that they've got 100% UK coverage.
It's just all it does is provide inconvenience. It doesn't actually make it more secure.
Yeah, but that's the best part, because then you'll go and find a way to turn it off, and then you won't have to deal with it anymore. Security through apathy, and then they can put the responsibility on you.
Security through apathy, security through negligence,
and then they can put the responsibility on you when your data gets breached. They can say, "Well, this guy didn't have 2-factor on. What an idiot."
Yeah.
But basically, yours doesn't sound great. I have had one of the most frustrating experiences of my life with a mobile phone network. Let's just call them Oxygen.
I was going to say, Oxygen's a good one.
Their online services are awful. And this wasn't even trying to manage something with my account. This was trying to purchase a product.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give them money. So we're trying to purchase some earbuds from them, for my partner.
Right, okay.
And they've got an online store. You go on there, you look at the extras. That was a janky experience in and of itself, because you have to they want to show you all the phones first, because they're like, hey, do you want to impulse buy the new iPhone? Go ahead, it's only 50 quid, probably more than that now, actually. I don't even know how much they cost a month. Anyway, they want to impulse buy you an iPhone. So you got to scroll past all that. You find the ones that you want. And then they show click and collect being available, which is great because we needed them that day. And it shows them as being available in our local O2 store. Except it doesn't when you try and browse them on the mobile phone. So it's you go on the mobile site, shows that they're not in stock on that store at all. In fact, the store doesn't even come up.
Amazing.
But when you do it on desktop, it does. Now, the way we figured that out was that we tried to buy them on the phone to click and collect from another store that was slightly further away, but the checkout process failed.
Amazing.
Yep. So then we go to the desktop.
You're not having much luck with checkout processes. We were talking off air about a failed checkout process as well.
Yeah, failed to buy my pop filter on the checkout.
Yeah.
Failed to buy these headphones. So we got on the desktop and we're like, oh great, they're actually in stock at the local store. But then like they want to funnel you into like adding them to your contract. And it's like, no, I just want to buy the goddamn things outright, like a checkout, like people have been doing for 25 years online.
Can I ask why you were purchasing the earbuds from Oxygen instead of somewhere else? Was there like a deal?
Because they were about £40 cheaper. That's a good question, because they were available widely, but they had an offer on that was like £40 less than anywhere else. Plus we needed them that day, and pick up from their store was one of the only ones that was available for like collection.
Second question. Had you considered the fact that earbuds, true wireless earbuds, are ticking eco bombs because the batteries are so small and get shagged quickly, and and then you can't replace them without destroying the entire headphone anyway?
If you can come up with a better solution for earbuds that you can sleep in, I will happily invest in a pair of the Ethan Buds.
Ethan Buds, yes.
Ethan Buds
coming next fall, confirmed.
If you've got a better workaround for noise cancelling in-ear headphones that are suitable for sleeping,
fair enough.
I will happily purchase the first set. I'll even back it on Kickstarter.
Just buy a pair of cans and then like buy a memory foam pillow and cut out a shape, the exact footprint of the headphones, so that you can lie on one side, and also then calculate exactly where it would go if you roll over, where your head would roll to, and then cut another hole for the other side there. And
why go that far when what you could do is just have an overhead camera watching you while you slept, and then it motion tracks you, and then as you move while you sleep, it can somehow actuate the gap in the pillow and move that. Because then it could capture your mocap data while you slept, and then sell it automatically in the background to advertisers.
Or just be obnoxious and just have a pair of speakers playing whatever noise you're sleeping to.
But that yeah, exactly. So it's not.
And then be alone for life.
just crank the volume. I can't sleep without. Look, I can't sleep without having Scooter on at 200 volume.
Is that better or worse than having to put up with? People put up with their partners snoring for love. So like, is Scooter worse than snoring?
Oh God, I would say way worse.
I don't know. I feel like we should conduct an experiment.
well, okay, if you'd like to sign up for our experiment as well, please leave your email address in plain text in the comments with a dash.
Yeah, we'll do a control group of people having to sleep with just like a generic city background noise, and then we'll have groups trying to sleep while people are snoring. Oh, yeah. How do we do the love side of it though? We have to. This is going to be difficult. You have to
prove that you're in love with your partner by also putting their email address in plain text and signing them up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do it that way.
And it doesn't matter if your partner snores, by the way, because basically what we'll do is we'll have some a pressure plate under their side of the bed. So basically, if you force them out of the bed, it will stop the synthesized snoring or obnoxious scooter music.
I thought you were going to say jettison them out of the window.
No, so if you push them out of the bed, it will stop the noise. So
the bed will have to be.
That's how we attach the affection element to
right. Yeah.
If you care about them enough, you won't want to push them out of the bed and potentially injure them.
Yeah. Okay. Or we could have it where the beds are those kind that fold back up into the walls.
Jesus Christ.
Well, no, they'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe, I assume. I don't really know how those kind of beds work. They'll probably be fine.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, you know the kind. I've forgotten the name of them, but yeah, they fold.
Surely gravity would mean that they would fall down, like when they get trapped in the hinge mechanism, and then.
Well, then we'll find out. That's why you experiment to find things out.
Unless it's like Wallace and Gromit, where the bed tips up and then they go down those slides and they fall through the overalls and everything. And,
yeah, it'll all work out for the best. It's fine. That's why we do these studies to find out.
Okay.
But yeah, this was an incredibly frustrating experience. It ended us being unable to purchase it. It wouldn't accept the website wouldn't take our money. So then we went to the store, the local store, which showed that they had stock. And I waited in a queue for what felt like forever behind someone getting a new phone. And bless them, no offense to them, but like, they were going for like every upsell that the guy was offering them.
Oh dear.
So that took forever. And then when they were almost done, he was like, "Oh, do you want me to put the SIM card in for you?"
Oh Christ.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, please. That'll save us a job when we get home."
Yeah, it's
Which,
so
I mean,
difficult putting a SIM card in.
It was an
complicated task.
iPhone, and I'd have thought, as an Apple user, they gave up the biggest joy of all about having an iPhone, because they gave the salesperson the unboxing experience.
Oh. Actually,
So
to
he
be
had to
honest,
unbox-
I think most people who buy an iPhone actually just don't care about tech at all.
But the unboxing experience is pure wank. And I thought that was the, like, joy of it.
Yeah, it is a nice
You get to
unboxing
slide the
experience,
box
to be
out
fair.
just so.
I sacrificed
all-
that last time I bought an Apple product because I bought one second hand.
I thought you were going to say because you needed the person in the store to put the SIM card in for you.
Yeah,
It's a bit technical, that.
Yeah, it is a
Didn't
bit.
want to tackle that myself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which way it went.
Exactly, and you need that little thing that
Yeah,
comes with the phone.
Yeah, that little pin.
Well, I assume it does.
Oh,
I don't know. Do they still include those even in
I
an
don't know.
iPhone?
God knows.
For eco reasons, they don't include the little tool to open
yeah.
the SIM card anymore.
No. Well, in the
Pure-
US, you can't even put a SIM card in them anymore.
Oh.
eSIM only on the US SKU.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's a feature.
I guess it's... Yeah, because
They've made it simpler by only allowing you to have eSIM. They by the way, they still support eSIM in the models that can also have a physical SIM, but they made it simpler by making it so you can only have an eSIM. They made it better. It's a feature.
It's better, yeah.
It's a feature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the regular SIM, you would not be able to penetrate the titanium case.
How does that make any sense?
The battleship grade titanium.
How does it make it less complicated? Saying, oh, like there's this feature that you always had, but it's simpler because you can now still use that feature, but we've also taken away another feature, and that makes this feature simpler.
Are they still waterproof?
Well, with the SIM.
Or was that just a fad?
With the SIM.
No, it's in the phones themselves. I was thinking this the other day, because a big reason that they got rid of all the ports was because they were like, oh, we can't make it waterproof.
Oh, that's bollocks, because loads of companies do.
Yeah, and
I mean, okay, if they can't make a headphone jack waterproof, how the hell can they make a USB-C or Lightning port waterproof, which is a bigger port?
Well, I was thinking about this the other day, and that's the thing. I was like, do they even still do that, or was that just a temporary thing?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's a fad?
Yeah, it's still a thing, yeah.
Or it's still like IP
most
whatever
phones,
rated.
yeah, it's just like so many, pretty much, it's a given with most flagship phones at this point, so they don't really shout about it that much.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was like, I haven't seen that in a while. Have they just given up on that and quietly gone back to the not, but then not put the ports back? Well, that's encouraging, at least.
Yeah. I mean, like even like my phone is like, right, if we go on trusty GSM Arena, we can have a look at some.
I assume my phone is as well. Then I can just put it in the bath.
So there's different levels. There's an IP. IP, and then there's a number, and then another number.
I know the IP.
The first number is dust, and then the second number is water.
Well, aren't none of them even like waterproof? They're all like splash. They're just splash proof, right? I thought.
No. So some of them are actually waterproof or water resistant to a quite considerable. Yeah, but to like, for all intents and purposes, they are waterproof. Like
that's true. Nothing's truly waterproof, is it?
Like
we all.
Yeah, like but like to all intents and purposes, they are, because like if you any meaningful way that you're going to drop your phone and be able to recover it, so like into a puddle,
into the ocean,
a small like a shallow river or a shallow lake or something, for
Deep
a few
fog.
seconds, it will be more than okay. Like, okay, so what's the latest iPhone's the 14, right? Or is it the 15?
I thought it was the 15.
No, I think it's the 14.
Probably. I'll go with you. Ethan's the iPhone master.
Oh no, you're right. It is the 15. I'm
yeah,
not...
it's made of because it's made of aircraft grade titanium.
Oh yeah.
Same material they make.
Have you seen the
spaceship
jerry rig everything?
No, I've had it in my recommended.
It's quite funny. It's one of the. it's very funny.
It looked good.
So, what phone do you have again?
I've got a OnePlus 6 allegedly.
Okay. OnePlus 6.
It's made of non-aircraft grade aluminium.
It's not the 6T. It's just the regular.
Just the regular.
You sure?
I'm not sure. No,
I think
bought
it
second hand.
No,
it
is the T. It is the T because yours it's got the teardrop notch, hasn't it? Not like the wide notch.
No, it's got the wide notch.
Well, with the earpiece in the notch.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's got a headphone jack.
Hell yeah, so is mine.
Oh.
Okay, so right. So I allegedly, if I had a phone, which I don't because I'm a tree hugging hippie, but if I had a phone, allegedly it would be a Sony Xperia 1 Mark II. So the latest iPhone has IP68 dust/water resistance, which basically means up to 6 meters underwater for 30 minutes.
That's pretty good, actually.
Mine is slightly confusing. It says IP65/IP68. I don't know what that means, but essentially it means dust and water resistant up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So realistically, fine in like any. You drop it in a puddle, you're fine. You drop it in a shallow stream, like if you've dropped it in something beyond 1.5 meters that isn't a swimming pool, like realistically, you're probably not going in to fetch it, are you?
The drop will probably finish it off anyway.
I don't think so.
No, I don't know.
It probably wouldn't, but like if you dropped it in like a river that's 1.5 meters deep, you're not going in, are you?
It depends how precious the phone is to you.
I don't know. That for me,
if it was
that's
my
like
iPhone, then I would dive in after it.
For me, that's probably like, okay, I'm writing this off. This like
if it was my iPhone, then
just think how gunky that water is. Anyway, do you want to know what rating yours has?
Is it none?
Yeah, it's water repellent and repellent coating. I do seem to remember OnePlus did for quite a long time. They essentially were actually water resistant to a certain but they just didn't pay for the certification. So
exactly the janky way.
But tests kind of showed that they did. So they did all the same like tests internally and everything. They just didn't pay for the certification because at the time OnePlus was still, we're the good guys. We're the flagship killer.
We're keen on price.
That was before they
sold phones just as expensive as everyone else.
Yeah. So
there you go. So an interesting discovery there. If you're looking to purchase a new phone,
what were we talking about?
I can strongly recommend not buying it from O2.
Did you get the headphones in the end? I can't remember what we
did.
I can't even remember how we got on this tangent.
We did get the headphones in the end. Yeah, if you're desperate for closure, the headphones were bought, but we had to drive a long way to pick them up from a different store.
Okay.
So the headphones were purchased. So if you want to buy them, don't use O2. Use our affiliate link instead, actually. Hypothetically, allegedly. Don't use O2, use our affiliate link. And if you're also inclined to use one of our links, you can find them downstairs to listen to us. Well, not that you'd need them, actually. Why would you need the link down below to listen to the episode if you're already listening to the episode?
You can find those mental health support ones, below.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Ethan will give me those to put in. And you can also find us on other platforms. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts?
No, Audible.
Audible, that one.
Now,
Google Podcasts while it still lives.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a future episode, maybe.
Apple Podcast, sorry, I kind of zoned for a second there. So Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Audible, Deezer, some other platforms that I can't remember, YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yep, and soon to not be on Google Podcasts.
Share us with your friends and family.
Yep, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. New episodes every other Monday. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.